Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
Hello, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky, the Dragonchain Updates show. This is episode City 8, that is 0xc8. It is the 201st episode so far. Reminder, nothing on this show is financial advice, and please stay tuned after the updates for the 3-question AMA. First, we do Dragonchain Updates, and we have Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This shows last week's distribution for DAO-based governance on the show. Last week, we created 430 LOT NFTs. There were 3 questions for 53 LOT each, 1 featured post for 53 LOT. The host received 53, and Dragonchain received 162 LOT. Next, we go to Den.Social updates. So the June 2023 LCP, or layer creation process, proposal phase starts today. It's already started. So per DENDAO vote, the winners this month will be the #1 layer proposal as ranked by unique voter, and the #1 layer proposal as ranked by total lore committed for that proposal. The contest runs for 1 week. After the proposal phase is completed, make sure that you get your layer proposal in, make sure it's not a duplicate or not too much of a duplicate, although, you know, it's all fair game. And all proposals should be entered by next Monday, June 12th, so they can be processed and ready for votes. The commitment phase will begin next Tuesday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 1400 UTC. And that's all about the LCP. Also, tomorrow, join Dave for Coffee with Den. The topic tomorrow is To the Evenings and Beyond. The showtime will be changing. So it's looking like Wednesday at 8 p.m. is in the lead for the proposals. So check that out. Make sure you get in our weigh in and vote on that if some time is better for you to participate and so on. Also, the DENDAO updates. Make sure you join us for the weekly DENDAO call Thursday, June 8 at 1500 Eastern, 1900 UTC. Make sure you watch for the DENDAO layer for that agenda and the link to join live. Everyone's welcome to join to discuss anything related to Den. Make sure you don't have to turn your camera on even. It's just a meeting. Now we go to World Blockchain Roundtable updates. Make sure you watch and share last week's episode, which was on Den.Social, from concept to present day and beyond. There's a lot of interesting info in that. It was a pretty fun show. So get out there, watch that. Make sure you share it, like it, do all those things. And then this Thursday, June 8th at 1100 Eastern, 1500 UTC, will air live episode 107 with the topic artificial intelligence. Make sure you get in there and leave a blockchain related question or something related to artificial intelligence and blockchain before the show, so that you can get it on there. That's all the updates. So now we'll do an AMA, and we don't even take a break. We'll go straight into it. Every participant with a unique question will get LOT from the Dragonchain layer. I do believe hopefully these are refreshed. The same question will only be credited to the top voted reply. And I do reserve the right to revise and extend my remarks. Sometimes I forget about something, and maybe I would get in there and answer directly inside of Den. So first question, as from Kratos Gotaboy, as a fellow visual learner, I understand the difficulties of staying up to date with the ever-growing array of features on Den. I particularly, let's see here, sorry, I have to zoom in on it. Particularly when time doesn't allow for watching Coffee with Den and Super Happy Dragon Lucky. To foster a more inclusive experience, would it be possible to create a warm and inviting Den channel on YouTube dedicated to showcasing the best ways to make the most of Den's capabilities? This would greatly benefit users who prefer visual learning and ensure everyone can fully embrace the Den community. The great thing is there is already a Den channel. We have had questions about how best to handle it, because we essentially broadcast all the Den related shows there, as well as on the Dragonchain channel. They're simulcast, or whatever you would call it, along with the LinkedIn and Twitter broadcasts. We tend to get far more views on Twitter, and frankly, I think it's just because they probably don't game the actual watch metrics as much as YouTube does. YouTube, we know that they cheat the metrics, and I don't know why, but politics, whatever, who knows. So we do have a channel. It is, though, just the shows. So yes, it would be amazing to produce more material, and maybe over time we could get into some groove with Dave and others. I mean, some people have even posted to Den with pretty great tutorials. So maybe we could do something where denizens would get rewards for creating videos like that, and we could post them to that channel, and that would be helpful. Maybe that's the best avenue for that. So great question. No. So next question is from Jegs, longtime denizen. Can you advise if there is a hearing date for the SEC, the Dragonchain case, and anything to share from that side of things? There isn't, as far as I know, and I'm not a lawyer, and a lot of the goings on there are very confusing, but they're, the attorneys seem to understand them as, it's all a normal thing. But we believe, unless it's changed, we believe that like say discovery is done or it needs to be completed by sometime in the fall. I seem to remember September, but I might be wrong. And that court date would be sometime in early, like I guess first quarter of next year. So given it is June, that's at least 6-8 months away, something like that. I don't know if that'll still hold. And again, those things are a big mystery to me on how that gets set. But essentially, it's going to be valuable in the coming days when the Hinman emails come out. There might be some value there. There will at least be good information there from behind the scenes. That is, if it's not all redacted, which probably what we should expect. And from our excellent representative government, right? A republic, we've been told. And either way, we'll see how all of that pans out. We're confident in our case, mostly because it's engineering, and I know engineering, and I know software, and that's what Dragonchain is. And if I go to battle with a bunch of Goldman Sachs hacks about engineering and software, I can be pretty confident in it. So we'll see how it goes. Next, we'll go to IAM for IAM. Den questions. In this age of AI, In your opinion, will social media eventually be obsolete? If so, how soon? If you think it will be a threat, in what way do you think Den should eventually change to stay relevant? So it's an interesting thing. I think a lot of the narrative is, oh, this is the age of AI. This is, and I think technology is technology. And frankly, this is more, if you looked at it, big picture, this is probably more the age of software, more the age of how do I want to say this, open source software in particular, or at least the most powerful software that has come about has been open source. You look at Linux, you look at various other projects like Apache that essentially run the internet and run the world, and those have been astoundingly successful. And I think blockchain should already be there, but it has been attacked because it was seen as such an enormous threat by certain of the powers that be, the bankers, the banks, the governments that don't have your best interests at heart. And so the reason I bring that up is Gensler, in his latest, or maybe one of his few appearances in front of the organization that is supposed to oversee his conduct, he mentioned that blockchain really isn't that important, that AI is what's important. And it's the funniest thing in the world, because he's there essentially as the leader, the manager of the body that's supposed to be handling securities, right? Securities, equities, things that are traded on open markets for equity, the old world regular stocks, and trying to conflate those rules with software, essentially, and then delving further into software by telling us his opinion on AI versus blockchain, which is absurd. And it's just crazy that he would be doing that. And I think it is largely because his backers, the people that pay him under the table, the people that pay him after he retires, some verbal agreement that he'll end up going to some big org, some bank, some investment firm after he retires, like they all do. And it's all prearranged. We saw the same thing at the FBI, that when the leadership of the FBI would retire, they all end up going to work for BEA or for IBM or for some very large multinational firm that essentially they awarded contracts to. Definite conflict of interest, and it definitely happens, and I guarantee that it happens in the financial market if it's happening at straight-laced FBI. So you have to look at that, and you have to think, okay, why is he pushing AI? It's because they know that blockchain represents what would essentially be a tool for liberty. You could use it for interchange of commerce between individuals without any necessity to have the banks or the nation states weigh in on whether they can trade or whether they can do something, right? That's something they definitely are afraid of. But you can also use it in ways like, say, the Eternal Project, wherein history is not changeable. That you might be able to increase the value of information by adding to it or refining it. But guess what? The history of that information, those events which are on chain, whether it's a tweet, whether it's a bit of text that you're, betting a buddy that something is going to happen in the world, those things can't be changed. The proof of them can't be changed. So it's an interesting thing that all the powers that be are so hell bent on attacking this software technology. It's a very bizarre thing to see as a technologist, as a software guy, as an engineer. It's very frightening as someone who has a lot of interest in history. And given that, I think AI is not as important as blockchain, frankly. And AI represents a very powerful tool, but which can be very easily controlled with training. You can censor it. You can say, hey, if we make this tool kind of like the Google of its day, the place you go to ask a question, what happened in this case in history, or can you interpret this new piece of this new event? And guess what? If you're controlling that, it's very similar to an Orwellian type, controlling the narrative. But it's a very big tool for that. Whereas blockchain represents something that is much more transparent, or has the ability to provide a much higher level of transparency that they definitely don't want to see in the world. So I don't think it's a threat to social media for that purpose, especially if we're using something that is providing the ability to provide a transparent proof for something that was said in time on social media. Let's say it's a senator saying something about a political event. It would be very valuable to have that in place. And anyway, that's kind of what I think about it. I don't necessarily think it's a threat. I think it could be used as a tool. We actually worked with, I've said this in the past, we worked with one group to do some sentiment analysis that we hope someday to get integrated into Den, to help people write better content, or help people who are negative in the way they write to maybe understand that how some post or some content might be interpreted. So AI is a tool, much like blockchain is. It's just potentially more manipulatable than is blockchain. So anyway, and so Den should use these tools, and we have the facilities to do it. We have the infrastructure to do it. It largely weighs a lot on the discussion we had on the DENDAO call last week, which is, the initiative to to open source or open to open up the platform to developers one way or another. So that's a long answer. Sorry about that. But great question. And that's all the questions. We do have, I do believe, yes, we have one point featured content, which is by Cochranizer. My thoughts on using APK tool to decompile Android apps to port some to GNU Linux. Awesome post. I like seeing posts in the GNU Linux layer. I wish I had more time to lurk and provide better content there. But thanks for posting this. I even, in fact, replied to it already that decompilation of code should be a right. And I think some of the stuff that the Android App Store and definitely the Apple App Stores have had issues with, that I don't think they're handling very well, are when someone pays for an app and then that app no longer supports a newer version, pretty much forced, of an OS. And if the developer has stepped away or otherwise, essentially the App Store has taken a fee and the developer has taken and by the way, the App Store fees are pretty significant, 30%, super high. They take a lot, and you just have to wonder if there's not some liability that, I paid for that, why can't I get it anymore, Apple or Google? So this ability to decompile and use that code that you paid for or otherwise had or otherwise need is particularly valuable. And I would point to Richard Stallman on that I do agree with some of those pieces, that information seeks to be free. It should be free, especially stuff that you're using. You should have access to the source code, frankly. And decompilation is not as ideal as having the real source code, because there are no comments typically, unless it's AI generated. And a lot of times it's much harder to follow than human generated original code. But I have seen some humans that code pretty poorly, and it's not any worse sometimes to follow through some decompiled code than code from some devs. So that's it. So thanks for that. Great featured content. You get credited for it as well. And in closing, make sure you watch us again next Tuesday at 1100 Eastern, 1500 UTC. Make sure you watch World Blockchain Roundtable at the same time on this Thursday. And make sure you get some Dragonchain and Den merch at dragonchain.store. That's still active. Hopefully we'll get to add some stuff in the coming months. Who knows? Maybe we can get some SEC meme shirts or something. Make sure you follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and Jojo Row on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Den.Social, of course. Make sure you also, if you have the means at all, I will forever thank you to contribute to Dragonchain's legal fund at legalfund.dragonchain.com. We're going to need it to pay the attorneys. The whole thing is a pretty expensive affair, and we're being very efficient with it. Our current team is, frankly, much better, but they also are much more reasonable and driven by, I think, an actual desire to correct this issue that we see in the world. So, and I guess given all the current events with Coinbase being sued and now CZ and Binance being sued, hopefully we'll see some gathering of the tribes and that we'll be able to get together and help each other out in several ways, especially fundamentally. So anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best. Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.